What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Ask Virtue. So, last week I was asked to explain the benefits of loaded carries. Okay, so Josh Miguez asked, "Love this. I want to know what you think, Sir Luke. Why are loaded carries so beneficial? I've heard a lot about them and seen a lot of people use them, but I haven't heard a deep description as to why they're a good choice and why we would choose that over another exercise." Josh, man, miss you, buddy. Thanks for the question. So, um, what I've got behind me here on the board is going to help me stay on track because I love to talk about this stuff. So, um, we love loaded carries here at Virtue Strength. One of the reasons why we love loaded carries is simply because they train pelvic stability and core stability at the same time. Now, if you're a runner, this is really important for you because it will help your technique stay good and efficient during the course of an endurance event. So one of the things that I hear a lot when it comes to people that run recreationally is that they tend to have some IT band syndrome, some knee problems, some hip problems. A lot of that times that's core stability slash pelvic stability. So your pelvis is meant to stay pretty neutral the entire time that you're running. As your core stabilizers and your pelvis stabilizers become fatigued and become weak, you'll start to see a lot of your pelvis doing this number here, okay? That ends up causing hip problems, knee problems, ankle problems, and so on. So a lot of that IT band syndrome that y'all start to notice about, that you constantly have to stretch and stretch and stretch, that's actually more of a stability problem than it is a flexibility or a tightness thing, okay? So that's one of the reasons why we love loaded carries here. And I should take a step back. So what are loaded carries? So loaded carries are exercises where you might be doing something like a yoke carry, a suitcase carry, a waiter's carry. So you have weights in the hand, you have weights across your back, or you can even do something where you're pushing a sled of some kind. Those are all what I would classify as a loaded carry, what we classify as loaded carries here at Virtue. Now, another huge benefit of loaded carries is just simply conditioning. You spend a decent amount of time under load when you're picking something up that's heavy and walking with it for 20 to 30 seconds, depending upon the distance or the time domain that you actually choose to utilize during your training. So time under load is huge from just a conditioning standpoint, a general physical preparedness standpoint. You know, and a muscle building standpoint. So they're great because they also help you retain muscle mass while you're trying to lean out, okay? So one of the things that happens when people diet down or are trying to lose weight is they often lose the same amount of ratio of muscle to fat mass. Now, one of the things that loaded carries do is they utilize a lot of muscle mass. So it communicates to your body that you need to hang on to that muscle mass because that's what's keeping you alive essentially when it comes down to the amount of staggering workload that you're utilizing when you're doing loaded carries. So hence you're able to skew the amount of muscle mass that you lose to fat mass. So that's one of the big benefits of loaded carries as well. The third benefit is just the strength training aspect of loaded carries. Now, loaded carries are a great option for just strength training when it comes to taller athletes that might not have the structure necessary for them to squat. Okay, so they get to utilize an enormous amount of weight that they probably wouldn't be able to utilize when they're squatting as well. So it's really good for those tall individuals or some of those individuals that are not able to squat or load up and they're kind of banged up or beat up. The range of motion is really not that significant to where you can still get a really good significant lower body workout from this loaded carry type exercise and still feel good and not have to worry about any kind of like joint pain or knee problems or anything like that. It's also great for just converting the real world, the gym strength, the strength that you build in the gym from your squats, your deadlifts, and every other kind of gym-based exercise. It allows for you to transfer a lot of that strength that you build up here in the gym into outside life. One of the biggest, compliments, I guess, or the comments that I get from people when they start training here at Virtue is, oh, now, I mean, I used to have to take multiple trips out from the car to the house when I do groceries. Now I can just throw it all into one trip. So it helps you transfer a lot of that strength that you built out in the gym into the real world and even onto the field of play as well. A good friend of mine, Dan John, always talks about, loaded carries helped him, were a game changer for him when he was trying to get back into his throwing. Ended up doing some really, really good competitions in the discus later on in life. They completely reinvigorated his throwing career as an athlete. The fourth and final reason that we love loaded carries here at Virtue is because they're a huge, huge high return on investment, high ROI exercise. So one of the things that I tell people is the reason that you would come here to Virtue versus going to LA Fitness or any of the other gyms out there that you can just kind of go in and utilize the equipment is that you get a higher return on your investment when it comes down to the time that you come in here, right? You have a plan that's pre-written on the board, and you're able to execute that, and you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck when it comes down to your exercise. Well, one of the things that I consider when I program for our population in here is what is the best use of your time when you walk through the doors, okay? And loaded carries is one of the best uses of time. So you get all of these benefits. You get the core stability, the pelvic stability, you get the conditioning effect while also helping you lean out while holding on to as much muscle mass as possible. And then you also get the strength carryover from the other work that we do here in the gym, so that you're able to progress more quickly and you're able to utilize that time as efficiently as possible. So, couple minutes to answer that question. I hope that was as in-depth as you were hoping for, Josh. If not, man, please come by the gym. I'd love to talk shop with you. All right. So the other question I had was from April, and she was asking, let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. She was asking about women and training and calories, and so eating more, the purpose of eating more for training. And so let me go ahead and read this out. So April asked, is it true that for women doing less cardio and eating more can improve your muscle and body composition as opposed to just eating less? Once again, April, thank you for the question. So when it comes down to training for women, it really isn't any different than training for men necessarily. It's just the mindset that can kind of change a little bit. So what I've found is that most of my female clients, athletes, whatever you want to call yourselves, they tend to fall into this trap of doing more and more cardiovascular endurance-based training and falling into that eating less kind of mentality. And it's not your fault. That's kind of what the fitness industry has preached for years and years and years. And it's just simply one of those things that's not the most beneficial way of changing your body in a meaningful way. So one of the ways that I like to tell ladies to avoid this stuff is because you will lose weight. However, the change in shape that you're looking for won't really occur, okay? Because what will end up happening is you'll get that quote-unquote dreaded skinny fat look that a lot of the general population is trying to avoid. When you restrict your calories and you do a lot more of endurance-based activity, it's signaling your body to get smaller, and especially when you do endurance-based activities, you're signaling your body to give up precious muscle tissue. It costs your body a great deal to have and to maintain that muscle tissue, okay? So ideally, for you to change your body in a meaningful way, you would do something other than chronic cardiovascular activity. So we would be looking more towards the building muscle, and to build muscle, you gotta lift weights, right? So that's why most fitness and figure competitors and women that have the body that they want, they're able to utilize weight training more so than cardiovascular training in nature. Having muscle mass as a female and just in general allows for you to have more dietary slip-ups. So when you build muscle, you're able to get away with having more carbohydrate and more of the foods that you love while still maintaining the body that you want, right? The body composition that you want. When you kind of fall into that chronic cardiovascular training, you really can't have any dietary slip-ups, because you're just going to have to burn more calories, break down more, versus build things back up, and utilize the energy and food to build your body back up instead of just fuel your activity. So building muscle mass is a great way for ladies to change their body in a meaningful way. And the only way that you can actually build muscle mass and increase your muscle mass is to train with weights, and then to provide your body enough food in order for it to actually build itself up and build that muscle tissue that we're looking for. Because that muscle is going to be what gives your body the shape, that desired shape that you want. So hopefully that wasn't too crazy. I love to talk about this stuff, obviously. So if you have any questions, please comment down below. If you think that this was a valuable use of your time to watch this video and Ask Virtue, please comment, share, like, and I'll talk with you guys next week. I'll answer the next couple of questions that you might have. So please ask us, #Virtue. Check us out, Facebook, VirtueBR, and on Instagram, @VirtueStrength. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you next week.